Shalom. This is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. I want to start off by saying thank you to all of our Booster Club members for your many donations and much more, your prayers. We visited faraway countries and strange lands. We've even spoken to dignitaries and were detained for spreading the glorious gospel in Cuba. The truth is that the descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel were scattered throughout the world. Help us on our journey as we continue to raise up the nation of Israel. 12 tribes worldwide. Join or donate today. Shalom.
I want y'all to look at the foolishness that we see on Facebook and YouTube. I'm just shifting gears just a little bit. We read about how great of a people that we are. We know how good we are. We know that we can unify and we can basically come together just like the Bible says and change our reality. Christ is with us. He's just waiting for us to get our business together. Really. You know, when I say look at the foolishness that we see on Facebook and YouTube, I'm talking about Negroites. I'm not specifically focused on Esau for the moment right now, but our own black devils who has a platform to spread dissension. Because that's what they're doing. They're on YouTube, they're on Facebook, and their whole objective is to destroy this gospel. That's really something else. You're talking about your own black and Hispanic people. They got this mindset. They are not, the Most High going to move them off the scene. I was making a point that we have these black demons that are hell-bent on trying to stop this gospel. They're just the same as the nations. So I took Esau off the table for just a moment because I want to show you that the same Negroites are in the same category with Esau and the other nations, okay? And their objective is to stop the building of the nation of Israel because the continuance is a witness against them. You remember I did a video a while back called The Tower That Witnessed Against the Turncoats. That's basically what I'm talking about here. As long as we are constantly doing the work, Captain, as long as we're constantly doing this mission and it's not showing any signs of slowing down, the people will begin to say, well, I thought they were wicked. I thought they was evil. I thought they was this, but they're doing the things that the Bible says. So nigga, you the devil. They don't want that. Can you dig it? So they have a vested interest in trying to stop this all the way to the point of trying to hack into our website and then saying, no, that ain't what I meant. That's BS. I ain't even listening to that. Anybody stupid enough to believe that, they crazy as hell. You know, whatever the excuse is, that just makes no sense at all. If there's some information from a company that I used to be with, I'm not going to hack. I'm not going to accidentally hack into their system. I'll go there or speak to somebody there. Can I please have my information? That was all BS. What happened was that it got caught. And now I got to come up with something so the people don't see me as what I'm really out to be, a damn demon. Y'all all right? But that's okay. That's okay. Give me the book of Acts chapter 4. Acts chapter 4. Okay? So like I said, it's our own black devils who use the platform of Facebook and YouTube to spread dissension among the nation of Israel in their hopeful attempts to sully and stop the mission, to stop the gospel, to stop the spread of the gospel. That's what it's really about. And I'm going to show you a little bit of that as I go on. I don't usually spend much time dealing with these misfits, with these spiritual misfits and dropouts. I don't really spend much time. I'd rather spend more time in edifying you where you need to be. But I'll make a little mention of them. Acts 4, verse 25. Come on.
Acts chapter 4 and verse 25. Who by the mouth of thy servant David...
Turn them up just a little bit. Just a little bit.
...has said, why did the heathen rage?
Who by the mouth of thy servant David said, why did the heathen, meaning the nations, why are they raging against the Most High? Go ahead.
And the people imagine vain things.
And the nations imagine vain things. Now, as we read in this, we'll think it's just talking about the nations, right? Because when he said David, is going out of Psalms chapter 2. That's what it's correlating with. Read on.
The kings of the earth stood up.
The kings of the earth. Negro ain't no king. The Negroes that left out of here and the Hispanics or whatever, they ain't no kings. But they fit within this too. Believe it or not. We're going to find that out. Come on.
The kings of the earth stood up, and the rulers were gathered together against the Lord.
Who are they against? The Lord. Who are they against, class? The Lord. They are against the unification of the nation of Israel. That's what their thing is. They sit frantically at their computer, so scared that the Israelites are waking up. Why in the world are you that doggone interested? The half of our views come from the wicked. Read.
We're gathered together against the Lord and against Christ.
They are gathered together against the Lord and against Christ. That's who they're really against. Go ahead.
For of a truth against thy holy child, Jesus.
Did you hear what that Bible just said? For a truth against thy holy child, Jesus. Go ahead.
Whom thou hast anointed.
Whom God has anointed. Go ahead, listen now.
Both Herod.
Herod the Edomite, the same line of Herodians that was trying to kill Christ back then. Go ahead. Herod and who?
And Pontius Pilate.
Another Edomite.
With the Gentiles.
With the other nations.
And the people of Israel were gathered together.
Niggers. Black hackers and all. And when I say hackers, let me say this here too, because a lot of people don't understand. When people think that hacker only means in the computer sense. If I look up the word hacker, let's look it up. Let's look it up, because they all that group have a hacker mentality. So you got to get the whole clump. Look up the word hacker. What did it say?
The word hacker. It says a person who uses computers to gain unauthorized access to data.
Now, that's the general statement of what people know for a hacker to be. You think it's just relegated to the computer intelligence field. Read the next one.
A person or thing that hacks or cuts roughly.
Meaning going against the grain. Somebody who tries to, in other words, somebody that takes images of you and make memes out of them. Takes financial records. Because that's all that's unauthorized. You didn't give no permission for you to take this and do this with it and do it. All of that falls up under a hacker mentality. In other words, breaching into areas that don't belong to you for the purpose of, what is the purpose of a hacker? Computer hacker. To cause damage to the company or whatever you're trying to breach. The same mentality goes with somebody who takes memes of people, who takes information and try to do it. It's the same spirit. The whole objective is to destroy the person. That's why it's called a crime in the computer world, because you're going into unlawful territories because you did not gain permission. It's the same thing. It's the same, and the whole objective is to destroy the gospel. They're not trying to hack. I was watching Deacon Asap's class on it when they was bringing it out. They ain't trying to hack SPLC. They ain't trying to hack the Vatican. They ain't trying to hack the KKK. Wait a minute now. Right. They ain't trying to hack the Catholic Church. They ain't trying to hack. You want to know why they ain't trying to hack them? Because they know the white man will pull a bullet in their head the minute they do that. They know that. But they don't fear God. They don't fear doing that kind of evil towards God's program. They don't fear that. But yet they in the truth. BS. Y'all all right? And it's okay. It's okay. God got their card. Y'all all right? They ain't stopped it now. What make you think they're going to succeed later? No. Read. Read that, the 27th verse.
Verse 27. For of a truth against thy holy child, Jesus, whom thou hast anointed, both Herod and Pontius Pilate, with the Gentiles and the people of Israel.
The wicked of Israel.
Were gathered together.
They were gathered together with the nations, with BBC, so you're going to understand, with SPLC, all to attack Israel. Do y'all see the scriptures coming clear? Crystal clear. Easy to understand. There's nothing hard about this. The reality is there. It's there. Ecclesiastes chapter 10.
Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 6. Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low places.
Now we know this is talking about Esau and the powers in this earth. But folly, like we talked about earlier, how the law is slack and the proper judgment of God never goes forward. And evil is, what did it say in there? It said something about, therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. Wrong judgment proceedeth, meaning foolishness on Facebook, foolishness on YouTube. That proceeds, that gets the views, that gets the people's attention. But righteousness in Christ, not so much. Folly is set in great dignity. It's the same thing. Read.
And the rich sit in low places.
And the true gospel of God, the truth about the resurrecting power of this Bible, it doesn't really get any real light. It's sullied and it's labeled as hate teaching, but yet it's the book of Jesus. But yet, so that's letting you know they're against Jesus too. Read.
I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth.
So one of the things that I was starting to understand was that we are a great people, and we can be great if we exercise foolishness from among us. I have seen servants upon horses, meaning that people in the power seat are doggone fools and servants. What in the hell are they doing ruling over us? Because we are not doing what we're supposed to do, where we can get our rightful place and be where we're supposed to be. The Lord refers to us as princes. He says servants are in the power seat, but princes. Read the rest of it.
And princes walking as servants upon the earth.
The Lord is saying that we are the princes, but we as princes are operating and being relegated to the status of a bum. But we are the princes, and we're walking on the ground as if we're the servants, and the actual fool and folly is sitting on a horse in the power seat. That would make you mad, brothers. Because if we know the greatness, we just read about the greatness of ourselves in Ezekiel 16. All that broidery and all that good, how the Lord took care of us. So we're supposed to be upset that this is a reality, that we're not fulfilling what God meant for us to fulfill. And it's all mental. Read.
Verse 8. He that diggeth a pit shall fall into it.
He that diggeth a pit. These dudes in this wickedness, they are trying their best to stop this truth. They're sitting frantically trying to find ways to make traps, pits, lies, all kinds of videos, memes, whatever. All in the effort to stop this truth. Not to stop you personally, because some people might think that it's personal. It ain't personal. If we, Lord forbid, got up and said we don't want this truth anymore and go join them, they will be your best friend until the demon come out and then they turn on you, because they ain't no loyalty among thieves. You understand? But my point is, as long as you're in this, you're going to be hated. But if you make a stance and say, I'm no longer here, all of a sudden, we're good in Jesus. They love you then. The demons know it exactly. That's the point. So never take it personal. And because you know it's not personal, you stay in this. Y'all hear me? Don't let some simple, stupid brother or sister tell you something that gets your mind all messed up, because this is not about you. They hate this gospel, and because you're in the gospel, like Christ said, know that it's not you that they hate, but they hate you because I am in you. That's what the deal is. Y'all understand that? And those niggas going to burn to a crisp. I have to say it that way because they're going to get it. The Most High going to kill their behinds. I'm going to read that in the Bible. These same wicked people of ours are in the same mindset as our natural enemies gathered together. But because we recognize the potential greatness of our nation, that's what I was talking about now. We recognize the greatness of you brothers and you sisters. We recognize that greatness. We understand how great you are. And yet we are still having to endure persecution and relentless evil. It makes us in wisdom mad. Meaning that we know that you are a great people. We know that you're wise. We know that we are wise. We have the potential to do all kinds of things. I had some books that I was going to bring in, and I forgot to mention it, but I'll tell you about it. Even in the days of virulent Jim Crow, in the days of segregation and the rest of it, our people being lynched and all of that, we have black inventors inventing all kinds of things in the midst of all kinds of hell. We were doing these things. I got books on it. Greatness comes from us. And that's without the scriptures. Just imagine if we come together in righteousness with the scriptures and know the reason why we are who we are and the purpose that God has for us. That changes everything. That changes everything. Ecclesiastes 7:7. Okay? Because like I said, we recognize the potential greatness of our people and in our nation. But yet we still have to endure the persecution and relentless evil that comes against us in spite of the fact that we are a great people. And that in itself, to a wise man, brings anger, because we know that we're supposed to be above this. Y'all all right? Read Ecclesiastes 7 and 7. Come on.
Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad.
Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. We're wise because we know that you're not supposed to be oppressed. But to see our people, to know the greatness in you, to know what we can do together, and to see us not do it, that brings anger to a person that knows your greatness. That brings anger to a person that knows your value. And you allow yourselves to be sullied in the garbage and be mediocre and half-assed, as they say. But we know that we are a great people. And knowing this and seeing us not operating to our potential in righteousness angers a wise man. Angers a wise woman. Y'all understand what I mean? There's been women, whether they're in the world or in the truth, I'm just speaking in general, that have married men that they knew were brilliant. And then when they marry them, they just sit and just allow their talent to just go to waste. That woman mad as hell because she knows that this man can do better than this. And he's afraid and he won't do it or whatever. And she begins to really want to kick his ass because she's angry. You dig what I'm saying? But that's the kind of anger you will have when you know the person that you're with and the people that you are connected to have an ability and a talent to do much greater than they're doing, and we choose not to do it. That brings a level of anger. Read.
Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart.
And a gift destroyeth the heart. A gift, somebody give you a gift to make you forget to do what you're supposed to do. When it says surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, meaning mad to do the right thing, not to do something crazy, not to go out with a gun or some foolishness like that. That's not what it's talking about. Meaning mad to the point where you will organize, where you will come together in righteousness to do the right thing so that you can get above that oppression. Y'all follow me? That's what the oppression will do in a wise man's mind. It'll make him get up and say, you know what? We're not going to roll like this no more. We're going to figure out a way to do what God says so that he can bless us so that we don't have to be oppressed anymore. Y'all getting this? Yes, sir. Read on. 8th verse.
Verse 8. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit.
This verse is heavy. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. Let me just stop there. How many let me just say it and y'all just follow me. When you start to build, let's say you're building a building, you're building a house, and you're starting it off and you're laying the foundation, you're surveying the land and you're setting up the stakes and so forth. And it says what? It says, better is the end of a thing than the beginning. In the beginning of it, you only have just that foundation. But then it says,
and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit.
The patient in spirit, meaning that from that foundation, you had enough patience to complete the building. Then you can get, You didn't get weary. You kept it going and you built it. And then once you've built it, that is more satisfying because you remember the labor that you invested in it. You took pride in it. It has a much more deeper effect in you because you actually endured the trials to make sure that you got it built. So at the end of it, you appreciate the hard work. The perfect example, when we were constructing the school in New York, when we started with the very basic. We didn't have anything in there. But as we finished and remembered that, hey, we did this, we did that, you appreciate the fact that you put your hand and you did it, and it becomes it brings a sense of value to yourself because you did it. It gives a chance for you to see yourselves as valuable because you can do it. Y'all understand? That's the importance of patience. That's the reason why there's a term that they call immediate gratification. If somebody gives you something, you don't value it. But if you have to work for it and earn it and put some time into it, it has a heavier meaning because you know the value of it because you worked it. And it is more satisfying once you've completed something that you've worked hard to build. That's what the Lord is doing to us. So the trials that we go through is a part of that building process. We remember the trials. I remember my particular trials. Brothers remember their particular trials. Sisters remember their particular trials. And they got over them. And it made them stronger. And when they began to be stronger, they can look at themselves with a sense of dignity and say, I've triumphed it. But if I've never been tried nothing and just been given the position, you didn't really earn it, so you're not going to really respect it. Y'all all right? We rejoice as we triumph over obstacles when we exercise patience in building something. It's the struggle that gives life meaning. When we have to struggle for something, that's what gives meaning to what you're doing because you put work into it. But if you strive unlawfully for something where the trials are dodged and evaded, you don't respect it. Here you're going to take somebody and you're going to put him in captain positions and this and that and the other, and he ain't earned nothing. He's going to get up here and make a fool out of everything. He's going to mess the whole damn thing up because he's not going to respect the office because he didn't work there. That's what that's talking about. Striving lawfully means to go through the trials required to get into that seat. Y'all all right? You wanted to say something. Y'all didn't want to say nothing on that? All right. Okay, cool. Now, So, Ecclesiastes chapter 1. Let's go there. Knowing our potential and yet seeing us squandering our potential in evil dealings brings pain to a mind who knows we can do better. Let me say that again. I write these things down a lot because I want to make sure I get them out. Knowing our potential and yet seeing us squander our potential in evil dealings, like foolishness. You got people that have, I'll give you an example. Some of the people that left here had some decent talents. They could have did some marvelous work in this truth. But gone, and what is he reduced to? Memes and foolish and frolic. And you could have been world renowned in righteousness, brother. Huh? But we squander that because we have no discipline. No discipline. Don't want to endure the trials required to get to those lawful positions. But yet you want to be talking about some you was in leadership and this and that and the other. No. Leaders don't roll like that. Ecclesiastes 1 verse 17.
Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 17.
I'm getting ready to get to some videos. Y'all all right? Wake y'all up a little bit. Right? Y'all all right? Ecclesiastes 1 verse 17. Watch this.
Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 17. And I gave my heart to know wisdom.
This is what we as men of God, we read about King Solomon actually, but we are following in those footsteps. We asking for wisdom so that we could be better servants to the people. We could be better servants to the nation of Israel and be a better servant under Christ. And that requires wisdom. So we ask for wisdom. Read it again.
And I gave my heart to know wisdom.
Go ahead.
And to know madness and folly.
And we know we've seen madness, we've experienced madness, and we experienced folly. We know that thing. It's an ugly sight to adhere to, to acknowledge, but we've seen it. Go ahead.
I perceive that this also is vexation of spirit.
It's a vexation of spirit to know the folly and the evil, and in fact, it is prevalent out here in our people. Go ahead.
For in much wisdom is much grief.
For in much wisdom is much grief. Go ahead.
And he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow.
So let me give you an example of what I read out of this here. In much wisdom is much grief. Knowing that you are such a great people, knowing that if we set our minds in righteousness, we put our mind to something, there's nothing that we can't do. And I usually bring up examples like in the music world and the brothers with the rap and all of that. And I ain't talking about this wicked stuff. I'm talking about in the rap world, in the rap before when it first came out, the brothers was using that platform because they were speaking out against the silence. You understand? The white man wouldn't give us, we couldn't get on the radio. They didn't want to hear nothing about that. So we wanted to come up with our own method of communication, put some beats behind it, and the next thing you know, 1, 2, 3, 9 times as many rhymes. Now it becomes a hit. Now the whole world, McDonald's is rapping, Japan is rapping, everybody's rapping. So that potential came from determination to not be silenced in the virulent attack against that music form, if you will. I remember all of the onslaught of trying to stop it. I remember there was sayings about will rap survive. There was records made that said rap will never die, stuff like that, because that was really a question back then. Y'all all right? So I'm making that point to say that whenever and I just use that. There's many other instances that show our greatness that we can push forward in the face of virulent hatred and opposition. We can still get that thing done because God has that spirit in us, you know. So in much wisdom is much grief. Knowing that we have the potential to do that and then not see us do that brings grief. Brings grief. Because I know that we can do better than what we're doing. I'm talking about as a people. We're doing it in here. We're practicing. We're doing all the right things. But I'm saying that we have to carry this knowledge outside of these doors and affect the people that we know. Y'all all right? And what does it say after that? And he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. The more I learn about how great we are, and then I don't see, and we don't see, and we see brothers fall out, we see sisters fall out, we see this happen, we see that happen, and say, damn. And that's bothersome. And these are people you broke bread with and all of that. So that brings a level of grief. Y'all all right? Our potential and brilliant minds, our beautiful minds, are being exhausted and wasted imagining evil against our own people. That's what we waste our talent on. Doing things like this here, sitting in a room, imagining computers and memes and stuff like this. This is what our people seem to gravitate towards. Give me my first video. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. Yeah, I went back, but I'm going to show you something. I'm getting ready to turn it up just a little bit. I hope that y'all can get the meaning of what I'm about to show y'all. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. Everybody pay attention.
Since 1944, the United Negro College Fund has helped over 400,000 underprivileged kids achieve a higher education under the well-known banner, "A mind is a terrible thing to waste." But with the cost of a college education at an all-time high today, UNCF needed a new and more powerful way than ever to raise money and increase scholarships. And so, we're taking the cause straight to where the money is, the stock market, by creating the first ever stock for social change called Better Futures, an innovative fundraising platform that transforms the future of kids into a stock that people can actually own shares of and watch grow, turning the old idea of donating to a cause into the far more powerful notion of investing in one. In collaboration with noted Columbia University economist Clive Belfield, an algorithm was created to help determine just how much a share in Better Futures is worth. Calculating such long-term factors as gross earnings, health, crime, and taxes, it turns out investing in a kid's education has a long-term social return of 1,020%. Like any other buzz stock, the future will have its very own IPO, beginning with, of course, ringing the bell on Wall Street. From there, investors can go to the Better Futures website to claim their share of the future at $10 a share, along with the stock certificate to prove it. And as an investor in the future, you can become its broker too, spreading news of your investment through social channels and recruiting other investors, spurring the value of the future to go up and up and up, which can only end up making the future better for us all.
My name is David.
My name is Queen.
My name is Jaquez.
My name is Justin.
My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
Now everybody's trying to figure out what the hell is Deke showing this for. The point, I made a note. Yeah, thank you. I made a note, and I wrote, I hope you can all extract the beneficial meaning behind this advertisement. The meaning is to invest in our children. That was the point. They was using that particular platform to talk about getting it on the stock market and all that. I'm not really necessarily talking about that. But what I'm saying is that we have the opportunity and the need to educate our children. We have been associated, we have been made to believe that our children are totally cut off from us. They've made us believe that there's a generational gap. We can't relate to our children. We can't associate with them. All the children are crazy. They're this way. And the dad is too old. He don't understand nothing. Once we settle on that kind of thinking, we've lost everything. Because if we lose our children, there is no nation. You follow me? If we don't invest in our children in terms of guiding them in the scriptures, in terms of guiding them in righteousness, they end up in jail. They end up in the abortion clinic. They end up on drugs. They end up in crime. We have no choice. And we understand that we must instill in them the change. I used that video because it made a comparison to how much it costs to invest in children, in our children, to guide them properly. Because we might say, well, I don't want to invest in children. It will cost us more to not invest in them. It will cost us so much more to not invest in them. If we sit back and don't do anything, the cost of not investing in them, meaning take the time, build them up, all of the things that we talk about with our youth programs and the things that we have in IUIC currently now. If we don't take that seriously, these same kids will bring more problems to the whole nation of Israel, and we won't have nobody to blame but us. So I use that to give you a backdrop on how important it is to understand that the price of ignorance is far more greater than the price of investing and teaching our children. Put my picture up there. I got a picture up there. It's a meme, Black Ignorance. And I'm going to say something about investment, and I'm going to make this point. I said, I hope that we can all extract the beneficial message behind this advertisement, investing in our children. Ignorance is far more expensive than guidance, education, meaning proper education. That's what we talked about with Captain Joel and with the Jacob Hope Academy. So we're trying to do the things that we know we should do and that we have the potential to do. We have the potential to do it. Why won't we do it? And we will give $1 trillion away in nothing, but we won't invest in our own. And we wonder why we have the problems that we have. This is what makes a wise man mad, when we know that we have the resources. Thank you. When we know that we have the ability and the know-how, but we refuse to do it. That's what brings grief. That knowledge of knowing that and then not seeing us exercise it brings terrible grief to a mind that knows that we can do better. Y'all follow me? That's where I'm coming from. So, like I said, ignorance is far more expensive than us guiding our children, educating our children properly, and investing in our children, meaning guiding them and teaching them how to avoid the pitfalls and traps that so many of our kids get caught up in. Y'all all right? Many of us, let me give you all something that y'all might be able to relate to. I know I can relate to it. Many of y'all might be able to relate to it. Many of us have experienced a teacher or someone respected in the community as a mentor that pulled you to the side and railed on you because they saw potential in you that you was squandering and you didn't even recognize the potential in yourself. How many of y'all know what I'm talking about? A teacher might have been like, listen, you're smart. Why are you running? Why are you destroying this? And I mean, I've had teachers that told me that when I was acting all stupid in the class, coming up. And she said, why are you doing this? You're smart. Why are you, use that potential. And when that happens, that changes how you think, because now somebody is actually showing you something that you never even recognized in your own self. Somebody actually shows some value to you when you didn't think you was valued. You in the class being a class clown and all of that because you thought you weren't important. Then the teacher, which is a respected member of the community, comes to you and it says, listen, why are you doing this? I know your parents, I know this and that. Why are you squandering your talent? And they actually have faith in you, and that changes you. That little bit can make all the difference. Can make all the difference. Just a mere intervention. That's how we got to get to. We got to get to that. Forget about the niggas on Facebook and the this and that. Forget them. We got work to do. We got work to do. Forget about all that SPLC. Forget that. God is on our side. Let us do what God tells us to do. That's where I'm coming from. Put that meme up there about.
Hey, that's heavy what Deke just said. I remember, you know what that reminded me of what you said, Deke? Who remembers the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? I remember the Fresh Prince, right? Most of y'all, that's around our age, my age or whatever. There was an episode where Will was in the African American Studies class. Remember that? And I think his mama was the teacher, right? Y'all, you remember that, right? And matter of fact, if I remember right, he was the only brother there, right? He was the only brother. And she went harder on who? She went harder on him than anybody else. And he was like, yo, what's going on? Why are you giving me all this extra work for? Why me? What about everybody else? And she had to break it down. So look, man, this ain't for them necessarily. This is your history that now you have to that now you are being what's the word I'm looking for? That pertains to you, basically. You got to know your history. This is not their history. This is your history. I see what's inside of you. This is what's inside of you. I got to give it to you raw. This is even, I'm going further than just the curriculum with you. Why? Because this is your greatness right here. Exactly. You understand? This is who you are. You got to know this stuff. They ain't necessarily got to know it. They just got to pass the class. This is you. So, all praise.
Put that thing up there. You see what this thing says? Black ignorance is a $1 billion industry. Black ignorance is a $1 trillion industry now, because we give this amount of money every year outside, which does nothing for us. And a very small portion of that money we can invest and turn this whole thing, give that revolution. This is the gospel, believe it or not.
Hey, Deke, it's even more than trillions, because trillions is going to be North America.
Right.
We ain't even talking about nowhere else, but this is just North America. It's not talking about overseas, Africa, where all those resources are at, those minerals that are on that land, that the people are supposed to be benefiting from. This is just talking about, that's got to be just America.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So it's time for us to expect and demand greatness from each of us. Sometimes y'all might hear me rail on some of these men up here about just being on time, about making sure that certain parts of the cleanness, like the IT and this and that, different things, we should expect perfection out of ourselves, never mediocrity. We come from that kind of history. When I read about these forefathers, and I ain't going back biblically, I'm talking about recent people coming up with inventions that are world-renowned in the face of virulent hatred and violence. We still came up with that thing. Why is it that we don't put our best foot forward in everything we do? Why is it that we don't do that? Because we accept a second-class status. We accept mediocrity. That's not what God made us. I'm going to play something for you. Give me MLK.
Do y'all remember the class? It's probably been a month, 3 weeks ago. Y'all remember the class about God to kings,
We went from God, king, princes, to servants, and we were slaves. We're coming out of the slave mind, the slave mentality. Okay? We're coming back to who God said we are. Right? Did God not tell your name is no longer Jacob, your name shall be called what? Right. Right. Same thing that we have to do in this very moment where we're coming from. We're no longer associating ourselves as slaves to America. Am I right? We are servants of God. And we're trying to come back to be those princes, to come back to be those kings. Am I right? To come back to be when God said, ye are God. Am I right? Exactly. You got it, Deke?
Yeah, I got it.
All praise.
So like I said, it's a time for us to expect greatness and to demand greatness from ourselves. No mediocrity. Expect the best. Demand the best. You want the best to be coming forth out of you. I'm that way. And the reason why I say that is because some of y'all know I get involved in some of the construction in IUIC, doing the drawings and the blueprints and all of that. And when the work is being done, some of these men will know that. And if it's not perfect, I said, don't do it. Tear it down, do it again. Because I demand perfection. And that's just, and nobody said, why are you thinking all white? I hear somebody think like that. Why are you thinking like that? That ain't white thinking. That's black thinking. That's Israelite thinking. We're the former of all things. Why the hell are you going to relegate that spirit to somebody else? I said, no, we want it done the right way. And then when you're done with it, you want to be able to look at it and appreciate the work of your hands. That's what you want. But you can only do that when you expect greatness and you demand greatness out of yourself. And you demand greatness out of your brothers and demand greatness out of your sisters. That's what makes us an unstoppable people. The video, come on, watch this. Y'all going to be surprised because a lot of y'all perhaps, well, maybe some of y'all might know that this man spoke like this, but it's not rough, but it's something that he said. And I remember having this speech a long time ago. It was actually mixed with a beat way back when we was back in the DJ days. We had this speech mixed in with a beat, and we used to play it in the streets in New York. And actually, I think it was actually on the radio. They, some brothers. But anyway, never mind that. But listen to this here.
And help welcome our honored, distinguished guest, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King.
Thank you very kindly. Principal Fornese, Mr. Williams, members of the faculty and members of the student body of Barrett Junior High School, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so he's speaking to high school. All right, stop it there. That's what I wanted to point out, that he's speaking to a high school of brothers and sisters, a black high school. Everybody's with me so far. Now go to 3 minutes and 19 seconds. Now I know how people are thinking. Martin Luther King, he's Uncle Tom, such and such. You get that dumb thought out of your mind. And I'm going to tell you the reason why I say that too, because I'm funny about certain things. Because a lot of times people just say dumb stuff. And they'll speak against people that ain't did SH. That ain't did nothing. And you're going to speak about people that put their lives on the line. And they got the nerve to open their damn mouth up. Shut the hell up. Y'all all right? 3 minutes, 19 seconds. Hit it. Listen now.
I want to ask you a question, and that is, what is in your life's blueprint. This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine.
Now pause it for a second. Pause it for a second. What I wanted to say when we was showing that it was in a high school, the importance of speaking to these children is beyond monumental. Y'all saw that when we went to Sierra Leone. And we were dealing with those young girls. We were dealing with the men, the young men. We even went to a military base and taught there, which is going to get us even more trouble. He said, y'all going too far with this doggone thing. But we're teaching at these schools, we're teaching about them, about the brothers and sisters believing in themselves and believing in the excellence that God made them. I'm going to show you a picture. Say something real quick. I'm sorry.
So, brothers, going back to what I was saying earlier, raise your hand, y'all remember that. Remember that class. Exactly. Okay? So, we're talking about the mind. Deke was bringing that up earlier about the changing of the mind, or what y'all see over in Sierra Leone, some of the same thing is going on over here. Am I right? Y'all may think it's worse over there, but really it's worse over here, because a lot of people over here don't even acknowledge it, don't even see it, and it's right up on our noses. You understand that? So it's easy to see when you go somewhere else and see, but you won't even see what's even going on in your own home. You understand what I'm talking about? So even in there, it takes a lot of self-examination. Okay, it takes a lot of self-examination and renewing our own mind according to these scriptures. Something that they don't have over there, and that's why we have to be the ones to bring this gospel to them. Y'all understand that? Y'all understand? Exactly. So we have a heavy and major work to do. That's why we teach, and that's why this word is coming out like, why you hear it coming out like this. Because it's need for us to come up out of our mind, our old mind, and renew our minds in the mind of Christ. You understand that? Sisters, y'all understand that? So I'm saying we're held to a higher, what the scripture say, much is given, is much is required. Am I right? And then what the scripture says? Much is given, much is required. So we're held to a higher level of accountability. And we expect more out of you. The Most High expect more out of us because of the knowledge that we've been giving, the understanding that we've been giving, the trials that we're going through and being put through. It's not to just be going through them and put through them for a reason, but it is to build us up to be able to govern and help produce other righteous-minded people. Y'all understand that?
And make sure y'all keep giving to that booster club. That booster club is extremely important. Without the booster club, the bishop can't be over there. We cannot be over there 30 days straight. Like I said it in class.
Not to cut you off. Not only because of bishop and all that, but if the booster club is not supported, we can't pave the way for the rest of you. That's the point. We're clearing the path for the rest of the brothers and sisters. Go ahead, Captain.
This is just really the first 30 days overseas right here. And like I said, it's hard enough to do 30 days in America. The bishop ain't no spring chicken. Deacon Malachi ain't no spring chicken. Listen, Deacon a couple times couldn't get out of bed because of his back. Okay, there's no Aflac over there. There ain't no Blue Cross Blue Shield. You just got to bear with it. You understand? So we got to support the Booster Club, brothers and sisters. You see where the money's going. Nobody's living lavishly. We ain't getting no new cars. And we ain't going on, it ain't a vacation. Trust and believe that. All right, the work is getting done. Y'all see the works. So you must keep donating to the Booster Club. If y'all want to get out of here, The way it's set up right now is through the Booster Club to help fund these missions over there. All right, so we got to support.
Okay, we were listening to Dr. King speak in the high school where there's black sons and daughters there. And I was making a point that when we go to Sierra Leone, essentially we're doing the same thing, meaning speaking to our youth, gaining their attention in a matter of moments, and teaching them something that their spirits have been missing for all these years. And now they got this clean glass of water, and now they come alive. And that's what you're actually seeing. So the dollars in the Booster Club is being used to help your brothers and sisters, and to also help the mission of bringing more. Because, like I said, this world is big, and we're going, sooner or later, we're going to be dead. Who's going to come behind and keep this thing going? Y'all dig what I'm saying? So that's the point. That's the point. Now, show the picture. Y'all see that? He's holding up a flyer, the true depiction of Jesus. And he's looking at that thing, and he sees that it's favoring him. That changes his whole chemistry, mentally, his whole spirit. And like we over here, like like we say, we think of this as nothing, but look at the smile on his face. Because truth was brought to him. And that has the power to change how he deals with his brothers, how he deals with his classmates, how he deals with his father, his sister, all of that. Change begins in the mind when truth is brought there. So that's what we're seeing. That's what we're about. So when Dr. King was speaking, he's speaking on levels like this here. You're going to hear it. I ain't going to interrupt it no more. Y'all all right? Let's get back to it. Go back to the video. Open it up. Let it rip.
Which way your life shall go. And whenever a building is constructed, you usually have an architect who draws a blueprint. And that blueprint serves as the pattern, as the guide, as the model for those who are to build the building. And a building is not well erected without a good, sound, and solid blueprint.
Pause it for a second. What was the point that he was making? Because I'm going to see if everybody's with me. What is the point that he's making up to this point? Nobody knows. Started back at, what was the point? Because I'm not going to play a lot of this, but I don't like to let things just go by. And I want them to catch what's happening here. Yes, go ahead, speak.
All right, shalom, leadership.
Put the mic to your mouth.
Check. All right. That we must have a solid foundation in order us to be strong as a nation is what he's
okay, so he's going into the foundation, and he used the term blueprint, right? He was talking about the architectural blueprint, and he says that is a guide by which we measure ourselves. That's what he was getting into. I wanted to get that full statement there. Back it up a little bit. I ain't got long. I'm about to end the class. I've definitely got to do a part 2 on this. Back it up to the, yeah. Stay with me. Hit it. I need y'all to listen. Go ahead.
I want to ask you a question, and that is, what is in your life's blueprint? This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go. And whenever a building is constructed, you usually have an architect who draws a blueprint. And that blueprint serves as the pattern, as the guide, as the model for those who are to build the building. And a building is not well erected without a good, sound, and solid blueprint. Now, each of you is in the process of building the structure of your lives. And the question is whether you have a proper, a solid, and a sound blueprint. And I want to suggest some of the things that should be in your life's blueprint. Number one in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own somebodyness.
Stop it. The first thing we have to do is have a good, solid conviction about our own worthiness, about our own value, about our own talents, about our own disciplines, about our own gifts. You have to believe that you are a great people. That's the point that he's getting into. You have to have a solid belief that you're not going to look at yourselves as secondary in order to do the things properly. You have to have a deep conviction in your own greatness. We have to expect greatness from ourselves and expect greatness from each other. Expect greatness from those students that we were speaking to. Expect greatness from the girls that we were speaking to, reading the scriptures about their Savior. Expect great. Why will we tell them about a Savior that looks like them? Because we want them to see we want them to fix and associate themselves with the greatness of Christ. If Christ is like me, Christ is great, therefore I am great, and I will not allow myself to be subjected to mediocrity. That's the point. Okay? Go ahead.
Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody. Always feel that you count. Always feel that you have worth. And always feel that your life has ultimate significance. Now that means that you should not be ashamed of your color. You know, it's very unfortunate that in so many instances, our society has placed a stigma on the Negro's color. And you know, there are some Negroes who are ashamed of themselves. But don't be ashamed of your color. Don't be ashamed of your biological features. Somehow you must be able to say in your own lives and really believe it, I am black but beautiful. And believe it in your heart. And therefore, you need not be lured into purchasing cosmetics advertised to make you lighter. Neither do you need to process your hair to make it appear straight. I have good hair, and it is as good as anybody else's hair in the world. And we've got to believe that.
Now, pause it for a second. You got to imagine, these are young kids, and he was an icon. Martin Luther King is an icon. This is during his lifetime. He comes to their school and speaks to them and tells them that they are great. You don't have to get the... Look at our people with this blonde hair and bleaching skin. You were just showing that thing. You see that the problem is still there. Because nobody is giving our people what they really need to get them out of that damn messed up thinking. Running around talking about he got the bleached skin. That's crazy. And Jesus Christ in the Bible is described as a black man. We got that kind of work to do to get inside. And that's on a simple level. But it has that kind of effect when you go in there and you deal and tell and bring light to the people. When we talked that over there in Sierra Leone, man, the people were all over us, hugging us. They almost trampled the man. It was crazy because nobody. Go ahead.
Yeah, hey, listen, I got off the bus and the kids just ran up on me. Like I didn't even get to teach yet. Them same kids you guys taught, you brothers taught. And they just ran up on me. Hey, how you doing? Like hugging on. Like it was like we were rock stars out there. They loved the message. They loved it. It was like Deke mentions all the time. It was like fresh, clean glass of water they never heard before. They never had that. Everything they had was filthy, dirty. White Jesus, all of it, dirty. But when they heard that Christ black, and listen, a lot of the elders, they're not necessarily the ones that's getting this thing. I don't know if you saw the video with Bishop, the last one where he got upset at the brother because he couldn't come to the terms that Christ is black, even though he read it. You know what I'm talking about, right? But all the kids, hey, what color is he? Black. What color? Black. They all accepted. No, the kids don't have a fear of speaking, but the grown-ups, they're more indoctrinated. They're more stuck in their ways.
There's a reason for that.
Yes, sir.
The reason why a lot of people resist the truth is because they are afraid of what I talked about a few weeks ago, racial revenge. They know the truth in the Bible, but they know that if they say it, they know that black people are going to get lynched, black people are going to get blackballed, black people are going to get fired.
The trial coming.
The trial is coming. And that's just a psychology that we just carry with us to make us resist anything that makes our oppressor upset.
Hey, D, there was a brother last Sabbath. Officer Yuri was teaching this brother that Christ is black. We can't even get through Revelation 1:14. We always got to keep going back because they're so destroyed. The brother acknowledged that Christ in the Bible was black, but in his heart, he knows Jesus is white. You know what he said? He said, listen, I know Jesus is white. You know how I know? Because when I had a dream, and God showed me in a dream that Jesus is white. He said, to hell with what the Bible says. I'm going with what God told me in my dream. Good, D.
I got a better one. That was good. But we had a girl. Me and Bishop was working together. It was in New York. And there was a Dominican girl, Simeon. But she don't know she's Simeon. She's Dominican in her mind. And we was trying to tell her about Jesus being black. You know what she said? She said, no, Jesus is white. He said, no, we got the proof that he's black. She said, I don't care about that. She said, I know he's white. I said, well, how do you know? She said, because I have a picture of him on my wall. That right there left me breathless. You know how people can say something and you just lose words? Yeah. That was it for me. I was done. I had no comeback after that. That was something else. I know he's white. How do you know? Because I have a picture of him on my wall. That was her, and she said, you can go and look at him. I said, damn. So there you go. There was a little more into that. Let's just get to the play on. Play on. There's a little bit more. And then I want to say something, and I'm going to end this level almost. Let me see what I got. Yeah. Play on. Let's get through this thing. I want to get to this other video about I got this thing about the exploitation from what France is doing to Sierra Leone. Come on.
Now, in your life's blueprint, be sure that you have that a principle of somebodyness. Secondly, in your life's blueprint, you must have as a basic principle the determination to achieve excellence in your various fields of endeavor. You're going to be deciding as the days and the years unfold what you will do in life, what your life's work will be. And once you discover what it will be, set out to do it and to do it well. And I say to you, my young friends, that doors are opening to each of you. Doors of opportunity are opening to each of you that were not open to your mothers and to your fathers. And the great challenge facing you is to be ready to enter these doors as they open. Ralph Waldo Emerson, the great essayist, said in a lecture back in 1871 that if a man can write a better book or preach a better sermon or make a better mousetrap than his neighbor, even if he builds his house in the woods, the world will make a beaten path to his door. That hadn't always been true, but it will become increasingly true. And so I would urge you to study hard, to burn the midnight oil. I would say to you, don't drop out of school, and I understand all of the sociological reasons why we often drop out of school. But I urge you, in spite of your economic plight, in spite of the situation that you are forced to live so often with intolerable conditions, stay in school. And when you discover what you're going to be in life, set out to do it as if God Almighty called you at this particular moment in history to do it. And just don't set out to do a good Negro job, but do a good job that anybody could do. Don't set out to be just a good Negro doctor, a good Negro lawyer, a good Negro school teacher, a good Negro preacher, a good Negro barber, a beautician, a good Negro skilled laborer.
You can stop it right there. That's what I want to get to. I'm going to end this part of this. The point that he's making is about like what I was talking about earlier. We need to demand greatness from us, not just to be good enough for being black. When we do things, why are we doing it half-ass? Why are we like, oh, well, it looked good enough for Israel, you know, and because we don't look at each other as great. We do no. We're supposed to put absolutely our best into everything because we expect the best from ourselves and we expect the best from each other. When he was making reference to about going to school, I know some people get, you got to remember that was that time period. I hope that we can understand the difference in the time and pay attention to the parts that need to be paid attention to. The point that he's making is that education. Now, I ain't talking about this education out here. I'm talking about that we have to invest in educating our children so that when we are no longer on the scene, they could successfully take over and keep things going. That's the point. That's the point that I'm bringing out with that. Okay? So I'm going to end that part of it. Now, I'm going to mention something about excellence. I remember seeing a video on Channel 13 in New York. Remember the WNET PBS, that channel, many years ago, and it was about the resurgence of Japan. When I say the resurgence of Japan, they did a program or a small documentary explaining how they emerged from being bombed in 1945, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And they talked about how they got within themselves and believed in themselves despite the fact that their civilization was destroyed. And they unified and they planned, just like that well-knit scripture that we read earlier. They did that. A lot of nations use our tools, use our records to better themselves. And we have the tools, and we exercise mediocrity. We exercise half-assedness. We exercise mediocrity in our dealings. But the nation's taken and set up whole societies with it and run the hell out of it. And this blueprint is for us. So what these Japanese people did, because I was watching it, and I might have the tape somewhere, but I remember watching it, and I'll just tell you about what I remember. They have their companies like Sony. Y'all all right? They have NEC. They have Toshiba, different Japanese brands. America had General Electric, had RCA, had Magnavox, Curtis Mathis. Those are American brand General Electric TVs. Japan said, we are going to surpass them. So they focus so much on bettering their products to outsell America and everything, even in cars when they had the gas crunch during the 70s. When America was making these big Cadillacs and all of that, they came with these little Toyotas and all of that. Next thing you know, boom, everybody's driving a Toyota now. But the point is, they believed in themselves. They believed in their own greatness. This is really BS that I'm talking about, because you're the great people. You're the greatest people ever, but you just don't believe it. That's the issue. That's the grief that comes from knowing how great we are, and everybody else is running circles around us because we're sitting on our asses BSing with foolishness. That's where the much knowledge comes much grief. When I know how great we are and we playing games. And I'm watching, they talking about how when they had in their schools, guess what they do? They send the CEOs of Sony to go inside the high school and talk to the students and kids. And invest in the kids. So when they come out, they're working for Sony. They're working for NEC. They're working for Toshiba. Investing in their children. Next thing you know, everybody got a Walkman. That came from them because they had that vision. Everybody driving a Toyota, Suzuki, or Datsun. Nobody doesn't even know what a General Electric TV looked like now. And they talked about this. And that's really nothing. But my point is, if they can do it, why can't we? That's really where my anger comes in. Why can't we do these things? Why can't, when we was going to get the building in New York, here comes some other oh man, y'all know y'all can't do that. Building fund, hell, you know about building funds in churches and blah, blah, blah. They ain't never going to get no building. They ain't going to do this thing. We had all kinds of evil. I said, the hell with them knickers. We're going to do what we got to do. We got to show that we are great people and we can do this. That's how we got to be. And we demanded greatness then. We demanded excellence out of those brothers. We demanded excellence out of the sisters that came in and made sure that the brothers was eating and all of that so that we can continue to get that work done. Because I knew, I'm just speaking about me. I know the rest of us knew, but I knew that once we got the project done, that was going to set volumes in terms of exponential growth. That was going to send volumes in terms of us believing in ourselves, because I said, if we can do it and the people see that we did it, why can't we go and do it again and again and again and again and again? Because we knew how important it was to get that first mark. That make all the other marks easier, because now you have a blueprint to follow. Now you have an example to follow because it's been done before. Pioneering. We have that greatness in us. We have that greatness. I'm watching Japan and talking about ooh and an eye in the back of my mind. I'm like, man, no. We're the ones that can do all of these things. We can do this. We can do this. I'm going to end that section of the class, and next week I'll continue on. I got many more exciting videos. I know Martin Luther King is like kind of against the grain for a lot of y'all, but I wanted y'all to not focus on your perception of the man. I wanted y'all to focus on what he said. He mentioned things about like our sisters. He was mentioning about cosmetics, chemicals in our hair and all that, because we don't like our skin, we don't like our features and stuff like that. That was very relevant and important stuff. And that was years ago. That was like 60 years ago when that was, and we still, as of yesterday, still going on. That's because we haven't done a damn thing. That's the reason why it's still going on. So how are we going to rectify these things? We have to rectify it through excellence and unyielding determination. That's how we're going to get it done. If we die in the process, fine. As long as when I die, my brother come behind me with that same determination, eventually we're going to get there. You're going to die anyway. Might as well die doing the right thing.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road. Purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.